I'm wiping the tears from my eyes and I open it
Yes.
up. And at the top, it says 14 characteristics of an adult child of an alcoholic. And I start going through the list and I'm like, check, check, check. That's me.
Okay. Welcome, Bossing Up Overcoming OCD listeners. I have another special guest, Miss Shanenn Bryant. Shanenn, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Erin. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell the listeners about your background and what you bring to the podcast?
Sure. So I grew up, my father was an alcoholic. So I grew up in a very chaotic, violent environment.
Oh,
And so sometimes he was very kind and sweet and loving, and sometimes he was super scary. And so I grew
hmm
up, my parents divorced when I was 12. He wasn't really in my life. I think I spoke to him the next time when I was 25, and then not again until I was in my 40s, the last 3 years of his life. We ended up building a really beautiful relationship at the end, but he was really absent
wow.
from my life, and I told myself this story that, gosh, if my own dad doesn't love me, who's going to? Like, why would
Wow.
anyone else? And I grew up with that story, and I took that into my adult relationships. And so I just developed this incredible thing where I was super jealous and insecure. And it ruined a lot of great relationships. And then some I stayed way too long. They weren't good
Sure.
relationships, and I stayed way too long because I was insecure.
Well, and it makes sense because our childhood does so much for us with our development, and those core beliefs and the messages we tell ourselves. Shannon, at what point did you really realize that you needed to make a change with the jealousy and insecurity?
Yeah. My husband and I, we've been together for 15 years, but the first 6 or 8 years were just horrible. I was incredibly jealous. And if you know about attachment styles, when you really find someone that you think is great and you attach to them, that's when all of these sort of behaviors and characteristics start to really come out. He was someone that I felt like was really worth, okay, I have got to get this thing figured out. And I started going to therapy. I was actually kicked out of therapy, which I know. I was
Oh my
going
goodness.
for, this insecurity that I felt and this fear of abandonment. And I had been going to her maybe for a couple months. And every week I go in and go, okay, I'm not going to be jealous. I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm going to be super secure. And then as soon as my husband and I would go to a restaurant or we were out somewhere and there was somebody that I thought that maybe he would be attracted to or he was looking at, it just all went out the window. I couldn't keep it together. And yeah, I would just keep
So,
repeating this pattern.
yeah, and I find this a lot with OCD for women because as soon as they get triggered, they don't know how to get out of the spiral. Yet I'm super curious, Shannon, what happened with the therapist? Why did it
Yeah.
go down the way it did?
So I would go, I would week after week. I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm going to just be really strong and do all the things that we
Oh,
tend to do. I'm going to make sure my hair looks good. I'm going to buy a new outfit. I'm going to do all the things that we think is going to make us feel confident and secure. And then it doesn't happen. And so I would just fail and come back with the same thing. I did this again. This is what happened again, over and over. And one time after a session, she said, "Thank you for sharing with me, but I feel like this is beyond my expertise and I'm going to end our relationship." And I was like, "What?"
oh, especially with your abandonment issues. I'm sure that was hard.
Yes, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh." And I really felt like, am I not fixable? Like, I'm gonna be like this for the rest of my life. There's
Oh,
something wrong with me. She gave me a piece of paper as she was ending our therapy time, and I got my card. I'm wiping the tears from my eyes, and I open it
yes.
up, and at the top it says 14 characteristics of an adult child of an alcoholic. I start going through the list and I'm like, check, check, check. That's me. Within minutes, I thought, oh, I didn't write this list. So I can't be the only one.
Good
Somebody
point.
else is feeling this way. If there's a list, there's probably a solution.
Yeah, good for you and zooming out on the situation and recognizing you weren't alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did that drive you to fix this insecurity,
Yes, as I
jealousy?
knew at that time, okay, I'm not the only person. So I'm not in this alone. This isn't completely unheard of because it feels that way when
Exactly. Yes.
you're like,
Right.
I'm the only one, I'm by myself.
And it makes you feel crazy when we're feeling things and there's no logical justification. It makes you just feel like you're going bananas.
Yeah. And especially with the jealousy and insecurity, people are telling you that. You're boyfriends, your partners, your whomever are like, "This is crazy. Why are you upset about this?" Right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
reinforce the craziness thought. Even our friends, as much as they are trying to do good, our friends, our family, because if somebody hasn't experienced this, they
Mm.
don't understand, like, what are you worried about? Nothing's happened. Why are you focused on this?
They are accidentally giving you reassurance, but then they're also invalidating your feelings.
Yes. And your experience of, no, this is something I don't feel like I have a
I
like I
control.
can't, yes, I can't
Yeah.
control this. And
Yes.
then here you're telling me it's weird that I can't control it.
Wow. It sounds like you went through this for a long time. And I must say, I mean, I've even experienced this too. I'm in a much better place now, which is why I'm offering the coaching. But it's, even if my husband spent time with a family member and I'm like feeling jealous that he's not spending time with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever feel that?
Oh, yeah. When attention is somewhere else, it didn't always have to be some attractive female. It could be
Yep.
anything, right? It could be a best
Hobbies.
friend, hobbies. We developed insecurities that my worth is attached to this attention, this reassurance, this validation that I get from other people.
And it can be addictive.
It's so addictive. I talk about this jealousy trigger. It is,
Yes.
we say in our small membership support group, we call it JA, Jealousy Anonymous, instead of AA, because it's very much like that of, gosh, I have this addiction in a way. Like I'm
Yeah.
starting to feel insecure. I'm starting to feel jealous. I don't like this uncomfortable feeling, so I have to do something to get rid of it. I need a hit of validation. I'm going to go through their phone, feel
Hmm.
like I'm getting reassurance because I don't see anything.
Yes.
And that
Wow.
makes me feel better for a minute, and then I'm right back in the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. And you've just fed into that jealousy. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
did a jealousy OCD episode back at the beginning of January this year, 2025. And I was shocked.
yeah.
A lot more people go through this and had no idea that this is treatable. Like you can do something about it.
And the other thing is, of course, most people feel ashamed and embarrassed about
Yes.
because maybe they have reached out, like we were talking about to that friend and family member. They didn't necessarily get the support. They were told, like, what is your problem with this? Why are it's so silly? So, no, I'm not going
Oh,
to keep
man.
reaching back out. And because we're
Yes.
holding it inside, no one's talking about it. So then you do go back to feeling like really alone and there's nowhere to go.
I totally feel where you're coming from. So, Shannon, what are your tips and tricks that you recommend for women?
Yeah, we have this small group community. We meet on Tuesdays, and it really is just getting to that place of hearing somebody else. Oh, you did this thing. Oh, you reacted this way. And so having that support in that way. But then also, what are some things you've been doing that's working? What are some things we recommend that you
Hmm.
try? And then really having that support through them. Because one of the biggest things is, oh, we're doing good. We're on the right track. And then we have a setback. And then it
Yes.
sends us into this, like, oh, see, I'm never going to get better. I'm never going to be able to manage this.
Oh,
And so it takes the support of other people going, no, wait a second. Let's look, you're still really improving. But yeah, we're going to have setbacks sometimes.
yeah, but just having that group of people supporting you can help you stay on track and keep those reminders that you have made progress because that
Yeah.
is so important for the motivation. Shannon, what did you do to help with your jealousy?
First of all, it's realizing this is a me thing because what we tend to do, especially with jealousy, is blame our partner. If you
Mm-mm.
didn't look at her, I wouldn't have felt jealous. If you'd spend more time with me, I wouldn't feel insecure. It's bringing that awareness that, hey, it doesn't matter. You could remove that person and put someone else in. They could give you all the love and attention and affection. But if we have that programming on the inside that says, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy of love, that's never going to change. It's like a GPS in your car. Okay, I've entered the directions. I can stop at the gas station, but it's still going to take me right back to my directions, right? It's going to reroute me. And it's the same thing. I have this programming in me and I have to change that programming. It doesn't happen with my thoughts because remember, I was going to the therapist and every week, I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to react in a different way until you change that belief about yourself. You're going to continue. It might work
Right.
5% of the time, but 95% of our behaviors come from our subconscious programming, our
Yes.
subconscious belief.
And you definitely have to change those core beliefs to get
Mhm.
anywhere.
So it's understanding that this is a me thing, understanding that we have to go in and reprogram those beliefs. We get these through repetition plus emotion. So as we
Mhm.
grow up, repetition plus emotion programs life's commotion. So these sort of imprints, like what we witness, what we hear, what we experience, that leaves those imprints.
Okay. And Shannon, it sounds like through self awareness and changing your core beliefs, you're learning to love yourself or appreciate who you are, knowing that you are lovable or you're worthy of love.
Yeah, it's going in. So in my case, I said, oh gosh, if my own dad doesn't love me, why would anyone else? I must not be worthy of love. And so we go in and say, you are worthy of love. And here are all the pieces of evidence of how you are worthy of love and
Love
where
it.
that's happening, right? We have this thing called the RAS, the reticular activating system in our brain that helps us focus on what we want to see. So if I'm constantly looking for signs that my partner is cheating or looking at someone else, I'm going to see that. Whether it's really happening or not, my husband and I, we had to stop. We couldn't go to restaurants. We couldn't go to dinner. We couldn't go to movies.
It probably wasn't enjoyable.
It was miserable. I was scanning the room for threats before we even had our name at the hostess table. And I
Mhm.
would see someone who I thought, oh, he's going to look at her. He's going to think she's attractive. And if he looked that direction at any time, oh, that was it. I saw him look. I saw him, check
Mhm.
her out, whatever it is. Because my filtering system, my reticular activating system was filtering to see that because that's what I am focused on to see. He could have been looking for the restroom. He could have been looking at art on the wall. We don't know. But to
Yeah.
me, he was looking at her. As we start to change this and say, I am worthy of love, I am lovable, I am enough, our RAS is going to pick that up too and help us to see in more ways that we are.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And with your audience, how do you handle some of their situations? Let's say if in the past they did have a partner cheat on them and they're
Mhm.
moving forward and they're still feeling insecure, jealous, or paranoid, how do you approach that?
Yeah, because that does happen, right? One, especially those who grew up in a dysfunctional environment, we pick people that also keep us in that dysfunction. And then those people can cheat on us. They can hurt us in a lot of different ways. And it goes back to if I feel like I'm not worthy, if I feel like I'm unlovable, I am going to inadvertently search for people who keep me in that comfort zone. That's my programming on the inside to say, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not enough. I'm going to find someone that keeps me in that comfort zone that says, you're not worthy, you're not enough. We
Wow.
can have these relationships that we're choosing with people who are not faithful. So, yes, you can also have that background like, hey, this has happened before. And of course, it makes sense that then our brains would say, hey, I'm going to look out for this. And
Hmm.
anything that looks similar, I'm gonna send all the signals. I'm gonna make your heart rate go up. I'm gonna make your stomach hurt. I'm gonna make you feel anxious. I'm gonna send spiraling thoughts to notify, hey, there might be something wrong. So we have to understand that it isn't about whether someone will do this or not do this. It is about, can I trust myself and know that no matter what happens, I am strong enough to get through what happens. I am capable enough. I'm worthy enough, lovable enough. I am enough to get through this. While that may have happened, we really work towards this isn't everything. And perhaps we are picking people that show us in those ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And what stage of your marriage did you realize that you had made huge strides and like there was a big difference and this insecurity and jealousy was no longer as big of a problem?
We were probably 8 years in. For the first 8 years, it was really rough. And to be honest, should my husband have stayed? I don't know. Thank goodness he did,
Yeah.
but he knew I was working on it, but it was rough. I was trying to figure out everything on my own. How do I do this? What happens when I'm triggered? I can't control my emotions. I can't stop my spiraling thoughts. So that was all work I was doing on my own. There weren't necessarily people that were talking about jealousy that had coaching programs and things as we do now. So
Hmm.
I was doing it on my own. But one thing that we have to realize too, as we are starting to make changes, our partner has made changes and adjustments, unfortunately, to the way that they respond and the way they behave because of our jealousy.
Wow.
So, whereas it got to a point, my husband's like, I feel like I have to keep my head down. I
Right.
can't look anywhere. I can't do anything. I feel like I can't tell you things that I should be able to tell you because you're going to get upset about it. I have a work event or went to lunch with coworkers, whatever it is, but I feel like I can't tell you. And so we have to also then realize they need time to get into this new groove of you that isn't going to explode, that isn't going to take something innocent and question or look through their devices or look them up to see where they are in location. So it takes time for them as well.
Yeah. What has it been like now that you've made these changes? What has your marriage been like now?
Well, we can go to dinner, we could go to movies, we could go, do normal things that most couples are able to do. And when you have the constant racing thoughts, you have the constant anxiety, your stomach is always hurting, you can't focus on anything. And a lot of times people might be in situations where they have children, they're so focused on this. They feel like I can't be present with my kids, I can't be present at work, I'm
Yeah.
not present with my family, I don't want to go anywhere with my family because I'm so worried about what's going to happen. All of that changes. I never tell anyone, hey, you're never going to feel jealous again. It may happen. I
Yeah.
have still experienced it, but the trigger is going to take a lot more to trigger you. I feel 100% present in every day. I'm present with my child. I'm present in my work. I'm not thinking about where my husband is, what he's doing, who he's talking to. It's just
Mhm.
not thoughts that I have on a daily basis. So that anxiety goes away.
Awesome, and that's what so many people want. They wanna feel less stressed. They wanna be more present in their relationships and with their family because that's what really matters to them. That's what they
Yeah.
value, and this jealousy stuff, these triggering thoughts, they get in the way,
Yeah,
so
especially those with children who are like, "Oh, I feel like I can't even be focused and present with my kids," and they love their children and they want that, like you said, so much, and that's a big part of it, like, I wanna feel like I can just be with my kids and not have this on my mind and I can focus on them, and so that's a big part too of getting coaching around this so that you can be present again in all of those areas of your life.
And Shannon, where can the listeners find you?
They can go to topself.com, that's my website, or I'm on Instagram at topselfcoach.
Okay, awesome. I'll be sure to put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, I enjoyed it.